Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this is my part 2 video about the Saturn-Venus conjunction in the birth chart as a block to love. And this part 2 section on the topic is the Saturn-Venus conjunction as a spiritual growth opportunity. I just want to mention that we've just started a worldwide international dating site for those on a spiritual pathway who are seeking love, called Love Star Dating. So it starts off with very few members because we didn't want a load of bogus members, which is the usual practice with new websites. So if you're on a spiritual pathway and seeking love, join the site and it'll soon grow to thousands of people seeking love, finding others also on a spiritual journey. So I want to start this post about how Saturn conjunct Venus is a block to love by reviewing, like it's true of all the planetary energies, how Saturn and Venus are divine energies. All the planets, including Saturn and Venus, are faces of the divine, with whom each of us has a karmic script to grow and heal and work with, a karmic script that is astrologically definable. So we now look at Saturn and then Venus to understand deeper what the Saturn-Venus conjunction does to us, to our destiny, and to our loving relationships in this life. So looking first at Saturn. Now basically, Saturn is about our karmas in this life. Saturn's nature is fated. We are each of us born with a fate and destiny, and our Saturn scripts are particularly central to that, but by no means, of course, the whole story. In Saturn's nature is the fact that learning his lessons is hard and slow. But if we can learn our karmic Saturn lessons, then we experience his ultimate gift, which is actually golden reaping. Saturn is at root an agricultural deity as a face of the divine. But it's crucial to be aware that essentially, with our blocks to perception and our fated Saturn scripts in this life, we will experience blocks with sadness and fear and lack of confidence and stuckness. That is Saturn's nature. We'll also possibly experience him as suffering, whereas this suffering and blockness is actually not to do with the energy Saturn sends, but it's to do with us, our faulty perception of our life, our faulty, inadequate spiritual state of consciousness, our stuck resistance to needed spiritual growth, our stuck blocks to perception, our stuckness about bringing in needed change. These are all the scripts that Saturn, in his long drawn out way, makes us work on. You see, the vast destiny, the vast karmic call of these Saturn sadnesses is for each of us to develop with that utmost spiritual value of compassion, deeper spiritual insight and wisdom, deeper understanding, better maturity and achievement through consistent effort and concentration. This way we can achieve protection and growth and harvest. In Vedic astrology, each planet is understood to have a divine energy to be a face of the divine, a god. The name for Saturn as a face of the divine is Shani. If we can handle Saturn's energies in the right way, and by seeing his energies' nature truly, we will achieve growth, protection and harvest. Now, when Saturn is conjunct Venus, this does indeed set up a huge challenge for learning the needed spiritual lesson and developing the needed spiritual attitude and perception about Venus matters of sexuality, love and value and beauty. And we do this by working on our own pathway forward in relationship. If we're in a partnership, by loving shared agreement with our partner. So, okay, let's go to Venus. Well, Venus, as a face of the divine, is beautiful and lovely, joyful and affectionate. The Venus energy is about sex and love, pleasure and beauty, dance and art and gentleness, wealth and adornment. Venus is art, healing and compassion, and creating a safe space for others. As a face of the divine, in Vedic astrology, the divine essence of Venus is the god Shukra. Shukra's name in Sanskrit means brilliant light and heat and semen, the male reproductive fluid. Shukra, the divine face of Venus, is actually seen as the teacher of demons. This is because divine Venus is true love and has qualities that can heal, not by force, but through charm and grace, spiritual quality and strength of will and attraction, care and respect. What wonderful qualities. And abiding in the state of mind, living in the state of mind that makes these behaviours ever more likely on our part. I personally find the divine Shukra energy feels quite similar to the energy of compassion. And I so love connecting with Avalokiteshvara, the Tibetan Buddhist god of universal compassion. In my 5-year field study of spiritual forms new to the modern West, an ethnography where you have to live in the institutions and with the people you study, I loved to work with Avalokiteshvara. First you make vision contact with him in his Pure Land, and then through highest yoga tantra, actually go on to arise as Avalokiteshvara, the god of compassion, and head out in the streets, not as Michael Conneely, but as Avalokiteshvara, viewing all the people and the buildings and the environment, not with the eyes of Michael Conneely, but with the eyes of Avalokiteshvara. Weirdly, indeed, my wife Maggie and I stumbled on a Tibetan Buddhist temple here in the west of Ireland, and we didn't know before we went to that area that there was one. And it had a huge effect on me. And by the way, Avalokiteshvara's name in Tibetan is Chenrezig, and his wonderful female equivalents are Green Tara and Kuan Yin, Bodhisattva and Goddess of Compassion. When we can increasingly live in states of compassion and caring love relationship, increasingly we are changing. We are living more and more in a bliss produced by the change in our own awareness, or the change coming from agreeing together to work better and better in a shared way as a couple and heal the scripts we each define need to be worked on. It feels so much more like a radiant state of being when we can enter it, it divinely transfigures our body-mind, makes us feel different. It becomes a power that enables us to interpret things differently, including the meaning and manifestation of our super challenging Saturn conjunct Venus, if we have that. And of course there are many other impediments to love. So the energy state I'm talking about is free energy. It has no bounds, it has no limits. But to return to the detail of Venus in our birth chart, as is obvious, we humans can, of course, express the Venus quality in a very negative or dark way. This is such as using sexuality or beauty to hypnotize, enchant, abuse, deceive, allure, entrap, and wallow negatively in sensual pleasures that can dissipate, drain, exhaust us, or make us narcissistic. We humans need to learn as our life progresses about the truth and dangers of desire and attachment. And by making this spiritual growth, Venus becomes what it is at its highest in Vedic astrology, the teacher of demons, the preceptor of demons. Venus as teacher of demons is embodied in the Vedic teacher that Shukra gained as a mantra from Shiva, which has the power to restore the dead to life. This is the central purpose of our human life. The negative sides of the Venus energy are seeking to luxuriate in the adulation of others, to be vain, fickle, superficial and affected, to simply demand of others that they please us. For Venus pleasures can actually dissipate us, drain us and exhaust us. We need to learn that Venus self-indulgence can destroy us. Venus the seducer or seductress steals our power and achievement. It steals even the showing of real love. But love and truth are the key qualities for working to achieve the higher Venus. It's important to note that it's a challenge for Venus to be associated with Saturn, but also Mars, Rahu or Ketu. Rahu and Ketu, the north and south nodes of the moon. So what we need to do as an individual and as a shared task in relationship is let go of the pride and move into the heart. We need to develop a state of compassion and love, working as an individual or as an agreed strategy in a couple, in a relationship. We need to open to and surrender to the higher face of Venus. And this is done as a state of being, not in the mind. This state of being brings luster that mental strategy and ambition cannot. Venus at its highest is devotion rather than just desire. Venus can even be the guru for each of our planet energies, even for Ketu, the south node, because Ketu can have a demon energy, but Venus in his highest state is the guru of all demons. But of course, we're focusing on these three-part posts on Saturn conjunct Venus. And Saturn generally wants us to be physical and do our duties in the hands-on way, in the physicality of this world. Everything to do with Saturn means we have to work on it. But to do this, we need Venus, a devotion to surrender without limitation. Both Saturn and Venus want us to surrender. This can be in a relationship. There must be boundaries, there must be free exchange. There mustn't be just one person wielding their worldly desires over the other, even if they do have good points about the work the other person needs to undertake. But beauty dries up if we do not have the devotion of Venus. Love and bliss divinely transfigure the body and mind and become a greater power. The energy of love and bliss is beyond limit. It allows you to interpret everything differently. It purifies the body and mind. It is free energy coming at each of us from all directions. When we love, it does purify. So do go on to the third part of this video and blog on what is it to have the Saturn-Venus conjunction in your birth chart. And this third part looks at some wonderful techniques. And if you feel an astrology reading would help, you get a relationship reading from me, you can book that through the Love Star Dating website, or a broader focus of reading and go to the Star Wheel Astrology website. Thank you.